Okay, so let's head over to our 2021 NFL training camp narratives to watch for that we came up with right before the start of training camp. What did we want to see from the teams? What were we trying to watch as training camp progressed, as all preseason games progressed? What were we watching for? And did the teams live up to what we were watching for, what we wanted to see? So now that kind of training camp is basically over. All preseason games are wrapped up. We're about 2 weeks away from the start of the NFL season, regular season. Let's revisit our training camp narratives and see if we are big on any team. Are we going to be able to buy some more teams because they kind of, did everything that we wanted them to do? We were able to get to see some great things. Or are we going to start selling some teams because they just didn't kind of live up to what we wanted to see from these teams in training camp? So let's get to all of our narratives. We did narratives for every single team, folks. So let's start here with these three. These were the ones that started their training camp a little bit earlier, a couple of days earlier. So let's start here. All righty, here we go. Bucs. Our training camp narratives for this Bucs team in the training camp were: how does Tom Brady look after surgery? Well, he's looking absolutely fantastic, folks. He played a couple of reps, a couple of drives in preseason, not too many, but every single one that we just saw, including the one from this last preseason game, number 3, Tom Brady is looking already fantastic. All the receivers, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, are all ready to rock. They're all on the same page, and they're all looking fantastic. So Tom Brady's looking fantastic after surgery, potentially the best quarterback in the league this year, and he may be having one of his best seasons in recent history just because he is 100% healthy now. So, man, oh man, Tom Brady's looking fantastic. The other narrative that we wanted to watch, and that we wanted them to spice up their offense and defense, so it wasn't the same as last year. Now, we don't really know too much information on that. All we know is that whatever they were doing, it was working. So they were still kind of fooling teams in preseason with their starters, with Tom Brady out there in the starting lineup. So we'll know more about that one as the season progresses, the regular season, to see if their offense is looking a little bit different than it was last season. But overall, Tom Brady's going to do what needs to be done to win offensively. So this Bucs team, we have nothing to worry about. They're going to be absolutely monsters, and you really kind of have to regard this Bucs team as the favorites to win it all this year. Brady's back. All 22 starters are back offensively, defensively. Bruce Arians is a great head coach. Todd Bowles is a great defensive coordinator. There's great minds everywhere, and you have a healthy Tom Brady who, keeps saying, any chance he has to bring it up, he will be like, yeah, I wasn't 100% healthy last season. I'm 100% healthy now. So you better watch out. Teams, defenses must prepare so many hours. You better use that week up to the Bucs game that you have on your schedule. You must study the film in practice 24/7 for those 7 days to get ready, because that's what it's going to take to try and maybe potentially compete against this absolutely fantastic Bucs team. So nothing to worry about here with the Bucs, and Tom Brady has won us over, and obviously we are big believers in this Bucs team come this year. Alrighty, now let's talk about the Cowboys. What were our training camp narratives? Alright, here we go. We said Mike McCarthy, can he coach? Dan Quinn, can he coach? Can Zeke get back to prime form? And we wanted to keep a big eye on Seme Fayoko. So let's break this down. Mike McCarthy, can he coach? Well, we've been watching a lot of Hard Knocks and seeing all this. Now, we're not 100% buying into Mike McCarthy, but there were some good things that we saw from Mike McCarthy in Hard Knocks. There were also some not good things. We liked just how he was kind of, coaching up Ben DiNucci on the sideline when he was throwing interceptions. That was kind of the only good thing that we saw out of Mike McCarthy, honestly. His locker room speeches fell short most of the time, but once again, there are locker room speeches. It's not a movie. You're not going to see everybody kind of fist pumping and banging on their chest and banging on the table. This is not a sports movie, so we weren't going to hold Mike McCarthy too much on that. The mojo moment was a good idea thought of by Mike McCarthy. We just didn't like the overall execution, where it became a lot sillier than we really wanted it to be, because there is a huge mojo in the game. Like, that's what we loved about Mike McCarthy, just that overall the overall premise of the mojo moment, which was, hey, in some games, there's just a moment in the game. You can feel it, where if we make this one play, whether it's like a third down, a third down stop, or, knocking them out of field goal range, a first down play that sets the tone for the rest of the drive, whatever it is, players know it on the field. And if you go out and execute it, you're pretty much going to win the game, just because you're bringing in that momentum. You're shifting the way the game is going because you capitalize on that mojo moment. So we did like the premise of it, just the execution, like we said. So Mike McCarthy, he did kind of win us over do we even say that? Because now the other thing that we were talking about with Mike McCarthy was that he didn't even want Dak out there practicing when he was healthy. This was before the shoulder injury. And then Jerry Jones kind of comes out in the field and is like, hey, why is Dak not doing anything? So we kind of saw that Mike McCarthy didn't have true total control over this team and decisions. Jerry Jones is still kind of, putting his nose into everything out on the field. So Mike McCarthy, we still don't buy him 100% or anywhere close to 100%. But, some small glimpses that we did like from Mike McCarthy. But like we said, there were some not good things as well. So Mike McCarthy, can he coach? He can. Well, still remains to be a little bit seen. All right, now the next narrative. Dan Quinn, can he coach? Defensive coordinator now. Well, they lost every single preseason game, so make of that what you will. We can quickly go into, let's see where this Dallas team defense ranked overall defensively. So let's see what we get here. Let's go to the preseason team defense. Was this Cowboys defense good? Because we barely saw anything of Dan Quinn on Hard Knocks. The man wasn't in the booth for the last Hard Knocks episode, the last preseason game. So we didn't really see anything like that, but we do know that they lost, I believe, all 4 preseason games, which is unfortunate. So maybe the defense isn't that great. So let's see what this team defense. How can we look up defense? Defense right here. Okay. Let's see where this defense ranked of the Cowboys in the preseason. So here we go. Cowboys defense ranked. Here we go. Very, very low here. Let's see what some good stats are. Okay, let's go. Interceptions. This Cowboys team, the most the team had was 5. This Cowboys team had 1. Okay, not great. Touchdowns. Only. Well, the good ones. Or no. Hang on. That's my bad. That's not what that means. What else can we get here? I kind of want to just. They don't tell us yards given up, like yards allowed. Interesting. We can't look up yards allowed on the defense. What the hell is this? All right, so I guess this isn't a great indication of team defenses. All right, let's see how many sacks. Houston had 11. We had Denver at 12, which seemed to be the highest. And the Cowboys had 6 sacks. Okay. So overall, nothing too great here. I wish we had overall scores. Is there points total? I guess we can go totals. Let's see what these totals are. Let's go to opponent. Okay, this is going to give us a better read on if this Dallas Cowboys defense is good or not. Here we go. All right, Cowboys. Once again, ranking not the best out of here. So here we go. Yards allowed. Total yards allowed by this Cowboys defense. Number 1 was Tennessee. Only gave up 597 total yards. That's absolutely fantastic through 3 preseason games. Now, the Cowboys, they did play 4, so their numbers are going to be a little bit skewed for the worse because there's an extra game. But the Cowboys gave up 1,200 total yards, which is very, very bottom of the pack, like bottom 20-ish right here. They're kind of ranked, so that's not great. They gave up 1,200 total yards. Yards per game will give us a little bit of a better indication just because they did play 4. So Tennessee gave up 200 yards a game, which once again is kind of, the best, the highest ranked. And the Cowboys gave up 311 yards per game. So if you take away 300 yards away from the Cowboys, they would still be at 900, which is still the same spot that they were in. So this Cowboys defense still was not that great. They gave up 800 passing yards. The best was 400. Rushing yards, Tennessee only gave up 200 rushing yards. That was the best. And the Cowboys gave up 422. All right, points. The Tennessee Titans only gave up 33 points. That's real good. Denver gave up 21 points. That's fantastic. And Baltimore only gave up 20 points. Let's see what the Dallas team gave up. They gave up 89 points. 89 points. Is that the most? Philly gave up 90. Philly gave up 90 points. So Dan Quinn, not great by this defense. And I know it's preseason and it's not all the starters. Folks, I get it. But still, you need to coach up these players. Why can Baltimore's defensive coordinator only give up 20 points? That's real gosh dang good. So, Dan Quinn, this man is not good. We'll leave it at that. So Mike McCarthy, nothing great. Some good things. A lot more bad things overall than good things. Dan Quinn giving up basically the most yards or the most points allowed in preseason, so he can't coach. The next narrative, can Zeke get back to primetime form? Yes, sir. We loved what we were seeing from Zeke Elliott. Didn't play barely at all. I don't even think he did. Maybe a couple of drives, one or two in the preseason, but most of what we saw from Zeke was in Hard Knocks, and we were loving what we were seeing. He was slimming down. He was quick cutting. He was looking fantastic. So Zeke, looking great. And then keeping a big eye on Simi Fehoko. He did not do anything this preseason, which is truly unfortunate. Barely got any kind of reps, barely got any targets and catches, never got featured on Hard Knocks, truly unfortunate. And this man is just kind of, going into, the mix. I mean, he's just getting lost in the shuffle. So truly unfortunate there by Simi Fehoko. He was kind of our dark horse draft pick at the wide receiver position that we thought could really boom in this league. Unfortunately, not really getting those kind of starting reps, and that's because, the Cowboys are loaded on offense at the wide receiver position anyway. So for our Cowboys narratives, not the best buying into. We loved what we saw from Dak, but that's not, what we were watching for. We knew he was going to be great. But Mike McCarthy not selling us on coaching. Dan Quinn, that defense is going to be real suspect. And then Zeke looking great. Simi Fehoko, a little bit disappointing there. Alrighty, now let's talk about the Steelers. Alright, our training camp narratives for the Steelers to watch was Naji Harris. Was he the real deal? Well, let's see what he did. He didn't play that many snaps, so, his yard, well, we're not even going to look him up, honestly, because it's going to take way too much time because he wasn't kind of rushing like that. I guess we can try to look him up a little bit right here. Very, very quickly. We can look up rushing stats. Can we look up Naji Harris quickly right here? Ramondre Stevenson led the league in preseason rushing yards at 216. Very, very well done to Ramondre Stevenson. Absolutely fantastic, and hopefully he can continue it up in the regular season, which we believe he can. All right, Naji Harris. Can we see this man very, very quickly? 6 pages of running backs. So if you don't find him on the first, maybe 3. And we'll move on. But, Naji Harris, here we go. All right, he only had 13 carries. Is that correct? 13 carries throughout 3 preseason games for 42 yards. Pretty solid. No touchdown, nothing like that. He had a couple of receiving yards as well. He had 14. Is that 14 receiving yards? Nope. That's just yards per game, 14. So not the best out of here by Naji Harris, but, like we said, he wasn't really playing that much, only 14 rushes. So not bad at about 3.2 yards a carry. Okay, a little bit of average right there. So Naji Harris, real deal, still can't really tell. Can the offensive line hold? Alrighty, now let's just kind of see team leaders. Was this Steelers team part of kind of the rushing leaders? Because that's going to kind of tell us a lot about that offensive line if it's going to be the real deal. So let's see where this kind of Steelers team overall ranked rushing wise in preseason. And this Steelers team is kind of middle / bottom of the pack, like mid-20s-ish. They had 390 rushing yards, where number one was 565. Lowest was Tampa Bay at only 98 rushing yards. So, Steelers at 390, not terrible overall. Rushing touchdowns. They had 22 rushing touchdowns. That's real good here. Number one seems to be 34. So that's real solid. 22. We see like a 7. Tampa Bay only had 7. New Orleans had 6. Lots in the 10s and 11s. So overall, not terrible by the offensive line. And let's also look up, can we look up stats? Can we look up sacks? Is this Steelers offensive line giving up a lot of sacks? So let's go to defense and let's look up opponent, and then we can extrapolate from that. Alrighty, so let's see where this Steelers team ranked in kind of sacks allowed. Alrighty, so here we go. Where are the Steelers at? Pittsburgh. Alrighty, they only allowed 4 sacks. That's absolutely fantastic. The teams that only allowed less than 4 was Denver with 3. Washington gave up 4. Baltimore gave up 4. Cincinnati only gave up 1. Rams gave up 4. Cleveland gave up 4. Colts gave up 4, and that was it. So Steelers protecting the quarterback, not giving that up, and some solid rushing yards overall. So yeah, the offensive line, can it hold? Pretty solid overall. Pretty good. So, yes. And that is Big Ben looking like prime Big Ben. Yes, we loved it. He only played in 1 preseason game, but he went and scored 2 touchdowns on like 3 total drives. Something baller like that. Looking fantastic. So, overall, Steelers kind of, hitting all of those marks, all of those narratives that we were looking for. Naji Harris, the real deal? Yeah, potentially. We loved what we saw. Can the offensive line hold? They only gave up 4 sacks. That's pretty gosh dang good. And is Big Ben looking like prime Big Ben? Yes, sir, absolutely. So Steelers hitting all those marks. Love that. We can buy into the Steelers team a little bit more heading into the season.